Hi again, everyone. We're back with another story. It's a rainy day, so we thought a good, fun story will cheer everyone up. This one is called Thank You, Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parrish. In this story, you're going to hear some idioms, and we'll talk a little bit about the end as to what an idiom is. See if you can figure it out. Here we go. Mrs. Rogers was all in a dither. Great Aunt Mira is coming today. Now that is nice, said Amelia Bedelia. I do love company. We've been trying for years to get her to visit, said Mrs. Rogers, but Great Aunt Mira says the only place she feels at home is at home, so everything we do must be exactly right. We do want her to be happy here. Now, don't you worry your head, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll fix everything. What should I do first? Well, the guest room has to be ready. Strip the sheets off the bed. Remake it with new rosebud sheets, said Mrs. Rogers. Thank goodness you're here. Amelia Bedelia went to the guest room. These folks do have odd ways. Imagine stripping sheets after you use them? Amelia Bedelia shook her head, but she stripped those sheets. That's not the stripping sheet she should do. Amelia Bedelia finished when the doorbell rang. This must be the laundryman with Mr. Rogers' shirts, said Mrs. Rogers. Please check them and make sure they're all here. Amelia Bedelia hurried to the door and took the package. Amelia Bedelia opened the package. She unfolded each shirt. 2 sleeves, 1 collar, 1 pocket, and 6 bottoms. Oh yes, they're all here. Is that what she meant to do? I don't think so. There's not one thing missing, said Amelia Bedelia. Now to check them. It would be a sight easier to buy them already checked, said Amelia Bedelia, but she quickly checked each shirt.
She's painting.
She's painting checks on them. That's not what she meant. Mrs. Rogers came downstairs in a rush. Amelia Bedelia, my bright pink dress has spots on it. Please remove them with this spot remover. Leave the dress out. I will wear it tonight. Now, I must go to the market. Amelia Bedelia looked at the bright pink dress. I don't see any spots. This dress just needs washing. Then another dress caught Amelia Bedelia's eye. She must have done this pink dress. Oh, now that one sure is spotted. Amelia Bedelia held the dress up. It looks mighty nice with the spots in it, but I guess she's just tired of it that way. What do you think she's gonna do? Oh, take the spots out. Amelia Bedelia put spot remover on each spot. Then she waited, and nothing happened. Didn't think that stuff would work, said Amelia Bedelia, so she got scissors. And Amelia Bedelia removed every spot from that dress. Is that a good choice?
No.
Amelia Bedelia, called Mrs. Rogers. Please take these groceries. Amelia Bedelia ran to get the bag. Here are some roses, too. Just scatter them around the living room. I must get my hair done now. When I'm gone, wash all the vegetables and string the beans. If you have time, make a jelly roll. Great Aunt Mira does love jelly roll, said Mrs. Rogers. And Amelia Bedelia stopped in the living room. Seems like roses would look nicer sitting proper like in vases. But if she wants some scattered, then scattered they will be. She's throwing them everywhere. Amelia Bedelia went on to the kitchen with the groceries. She washed all the vegetables. Then she found a ball of string, and Amelia Bedelia strung all those beans. Is she confused?
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Jelly roll, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. I've never heard of jelly rolling. But Amelia Bedelia got out a jar of jelly, and Amelia Bedelia tried again and again, but she just could not get that jelly to roll. Amelia Bedelia washed her hands. She got out a mixing bowl. Amelia Bedelia began to mix a little of this and a pinch of that. Great Aunt Mira or no Great Aunt Mira, there's not going to be anything rolling jelly in this house tonight, said Amelia Bedelia. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers arrived home at the same time. Mrs. Rogers called, Amelia Bedelia, please separate 3 eggs and pare the other vegetables you washed. I'll do the cooking. Then she and Mr. Rogers hurried upstairs to get dressed. Amelia Bedelia took out 3 eggs. I wonder why they need to be separated. They've been together all day and nothing has happened, but Amelia Bedelia separated the eggs. Pair the vegetables, Amelia Bedelia laughed. Okay, here you go. You two go together and you two. Now be careful or I'll be separating you two. Amelia Bedelia went up to Mrs. Rogers' room. What should I do with these stripped sheets? She asked. Stripped sheets, exclaimed Mrs. Rogers, but she got no further. Mr. Rogers roared, What in thunderation happened to my shirts? Oh, don't you like those big checks? I didn't have time to do little ones, but I will next time, promised Amelia Bedelia. My dress, exclaimed Mrs. Rogers, it's full of holes. Yes, ma'am, I removed every single spot, said Amelia Bedelia. Before Mrs. Rogers could say any more, the doorbell rang. Great Aunt Mira, said Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. They rushed to the front door. Good evening, grandniece. Good evening, grandnephew. My, that trip made me hungry, said Great Aunt Mira. I'll cook dinner now, said Mrs. Rogers. Everybody went to the kitchen. Amelia Bedelia, did you string the beans? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Oh, yes, see, they do give such a homey look, said Amelia Bedelia. Is that what you meant by string beans?
No,
No.
you mean to take off the string.
Where are the eggs I asked you to separate, said Mrs. Rogers. Here's one. One is behind the clock and the other one is over there. Did I separate them far enough apart? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers said nothing. So Amelia Bedelia just went on. And I paired the vegetables. They went together real well, and there weren't any left over. Mrs. Rogers slapped her hand on the table. It hit right into a sticky blob. Ugh, what is that? She shouted.
What?
Jelly. I tried to make it roll, but it just flip-flopped all over the place, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia, exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. How did you get things so mixed up? Things mixed up? Oh, I plumb forgot, said Amelia Bedelia, and she hurried to the stove. Amelia Bedelia opened the oven door. Great Aunt Mira sat up straight and sniffed. Ooh, hot apple pie, I do declare. Now that's the kind of mixed up thing I like. Great Aunt Mira announced, Grandniece, grandnephew, I like it here. Oh, Great Aunt Mira, we're so glad, said Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. They both began to talk at once, but Great Aunt Mira wasn't much for words. She had her eyes on that one last piece of pie. Great Aunt Mira put the last piece of pie on her plate. Then she said, Grandniece, grandnephew, I will visit you often. That Amelia Bedelia really knows how to make a body feel at home. Thank you, Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia smiled. She and Great Aunt Mira would get along. The end. So even though Amelia Bedelia mixed up things, did Great Aunt Mira still appreciate her?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know what an idiom is?
Mm-mm.
So an idiom is when we say something, but it means something a little bit different. Like if somebody said, go hit the road, does that mean you should really go outside and start hitting the road?
No.
No. Do you know what go hit the road means?
That means goodbye.
It means you're going to leave, right? So if you're thinking of something to do today, think back to maybe some of the idioms I read in the story. You could draw a picture about it, or think of an idiom or a funny saying, oh, God bless you, that somebody has said to you. And you can either write about it, draw about it, or send me an email about it. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you with our next story. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.